Welcome to the Adapt Collective, where we talk all things health, wellness, and movement.
Oh, yeah, it's the Adapt Collective episode 20. Thank you to the viewers, to the listeners. If you're checking us out, regardless of the platform, YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, appreciate you guys joining us. Today, I am welcomed once again by one of our great trainers, Mr. PLAW. And before I get to you, actually, Pete, I really quick, because I know we're going to get into a great episode. Want to bring in our sponsors. We have NOCO. The NOCO ambassadors always coming through, always dropping off goodies. So appreciate you guys. We have Celsius. They also really help us out. Love their drinks. They have they have caffeinated drinks, non-caffeinated drinks. Both of them do. I'm more of a NOCO guy, but no hate on Celsius. And then really the big one, the one that gets the most love from us is LM&T. They really shout out to LM&T. Stay salty. Both their single serves, both their canned drinks. Honestly, they're flying off the stock, off the fridge. So check those out. Great to stay hydrated. It is summertime. Sun's out, guns out. You didn't get the memo today, dude. But the guns are still popping out of the shirt. But it is
not a sleeveless guy, to be honest with you.
You're so humble. You're so humble.
I don't know. I just never been a tank guy. Never been a sleeveless guy.
Okay.
I don't know. But I mean, in all fairness, I would have worn it. But I didn't check the WhatsApp.
Okay.
And I came in this morning. I was like, that's right. It's today.
Yeah, it's all right. No worries. Listen, it's summertime. It gets hot, and so honestly, it's great to kind of bring out the guns and have a little bit less clothing, while you're training.
Fair.
But anyway, kind of rolling along into today's episode. Last time we had you, man, you were finishing up your master's, and I believe you are a graduated master's in sports psych out of Barry University now, officially.
Done.
So congrats to you,
Done,
brother.
done. Thank you.
Amazing. And obviously you've continued coaching. Obviously you're a staple here at our facility, working with clients, doing classes. I follow you on Instagram, so actually plug. What's your Instagram handle?
I believe it's Peter J Law _.
Okay. All right.
So
Cool.
That's the plug.
I got back on social media. I was doing like a social detox.
Fair.
But
Fair.
every once in a while you need that.
Yeah.
But I see you post some content. You have like you have some stoic moments where you kind of like doing some self-reflection. It's one thing that I appreciate about you. And you were one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you up is one of the most recent posts that you had was regarding to intentional training regarding not just output, but actually, motor learning, right? And implementing both in the training, where it's not just okay, hey, let's go lift heavy weights, which great, awesome, right? There's definitely some adaptation that's going to come out of that. But the motor learning, because we're in the business of not just getting people stronger and faster, but we're in the business of actually educating individuals and making them, and I think we both share the same mindset of like making autonomous individuals, right? Giving them the skill set that they need to, yes, maybe we work for quite a bit of time, right? Based on whatever your goals are. But at the end of the day, if that's it, right? If this transaction is done, you have more than enough, or you've gained more than enough from me that you can go on your own and thrive, right? I've given you something to add to your arsenal. I've, whatever the case may be, I've helped you in your journey. And so I really wanted to, I love that philosophy. I think that's definitely one of the reasons why you are a trainer with us, because I saw that from the moment we chatted, and I really wanted to dive into that. And I think it's something that our members should and would benefit from hearing. So the last time that you were on the podcast, you were obviously pursuing your master's, and you completed it. What has changed in that kind of, what has changed since then in terms of how you've been viewing your coaching? Have you done anything different? Have you changed your training? Right? What are you incorporating of recent?
Yeah, so I think for me at least, I mean, I could go in the weeds with this, but to keep it, very straightforward, I think as far as the way I coach people and the way I train people, I think what that degree and what that pursuit of education made me realize was when you're working with different people, like there's just so many different approaches you can take as far as like how to speak to them and kind of how to speak their language, but also like kind of know where to meet them where they're at and utilizing different tools to be able to like really understand where they're coming from, and then also try to like meet them where they at, and as far as like having them make progression. I think the biggest thing it taught me, like the whole, and honestly psychology in general, was just like how we're all so alike, but we're also very different in different manners, right? Like we all have basic traits, we all have basic needs and wants, but at the same time, we also all have different goals. We have different way of interpreting things. We have different ways of perceiving things. And I think the more you can understand and the more you can look at your client's lens, like through their world and their perspective, I think that makes you a more impactful trainer.
Right on. I want to kind of frame this question where you have Peter Law right now, right? Graduated, right? How long was your degree in sports psych?
About 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. Let's set Peter Law 2 years back, right? And how have you challenged that law? Literally.
Quite literally. Yeah.
In terms of like what what's different now versus then? What are you doing differently? Aside from obviously, understanding that people have their own goals, right? And everybody's different. Yes, we understand that. But like, okay, training wise, what are you doing differently, or how has like are you challenged differently, or are you maybe contradicting yourself in a different way, or has something changed? All right, now I don't do that, or I actually incorporate this or something.
I would say, like you mean the way I train people or train myself?
Both. Like more than likely, how you train people or how you're training yourself often is a reflection of how you're training some individuals.
Yeah. So I mean, in full honesty, like for a long time, I would often revert to myself biases in the way I train people. And I think we all do that as trainers. Yeah. I think it's hard not to, because especially when you've done something and like you've seen the results it gives you, it's kind of hard to like,
oh, why not incorporate this?
Yeah, like why not spread the love?
It's working for me.
So, but at the same time, that's kind of what I was referring to earlier, where it's like, hey, like just because this was like the end all be all for me and it gave me crazy results, like it might not be that, and might not have that same level of effectiveness towards that person. And especially if they don't have that buy-in where like they're not crazy about it, like you can't just like shove something down their throat. They're not willing to like really take in, and they're not really willing to like want to learn. So then it's on you to be like, all right, let's use a little discernment here, maybe switch paths a little bit, switch the lane a little bit going forward. Yeah.
As coaches, we definitely need to be, and this happens the more and more you're further down in terms of coaching, right? Marcus nailed it on the head, I believe, yesterday. So for you viewers that aren't aware, something that we've been doing already for a couple months already, we're reading collectively a book. It's a bunch of rules. And basically, as coaches, we take turn going up and reading a passage, and we write it on the whiteboard, and then we kind of like sent a little video of what our takeaway is, if we agree with that passage, if we disagree, whatever. It's just to open dialogue and to kind of keep us as a team sharpening our tools and give us perspective. And that's basically it. Like oftentimes, the further we are in our coaching tenure, the more complacent, but that's a hard word, right? Like the more stuck in your way that you get, right? Especially if you're not reflecting on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week, or on a month-to-month, on a quarterly, on a right? And yes, what could be working for you, right? You're like, all right, you're quick to fall back to it. But that's why you need to definitely be continuously seek information, right? Continuously put yourself out there where you need to get away from that level of mastery understanding and put yourself in a perspective of a novice. And it's important to be changing that lens. So for you, and obviously we're understanding that, based on the client, based on the member, everybody has different goals. Everybody has different things that work, great for them versus things that, I hate that. I skip over that, right? What would you say? And you were talking about it. And I want to go into it and elaborate on it. What is for you? What's the difference between exercising and somebody that's truly training? I know what it is for me, but I want our members to kind of listen from somebody that's, I feel, much more educated than myself.
Okay. I mean, dude, we already kind of spoke about this a little bit, but I think it really comes down to intent. I think intent, it matters so much.
Nailed it. Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen this before with different clients, different people, but you can go through the motions, you can hit the program, and you can hit, everything you need to. But there's a tremendous difference between just going through the motions and just, ticking that box, and then actually like deliberately going through and actually executing with like full intent and then full, I would say like awareness as well. Like I know for me, with clients I worked with, and I'm sure it could be the same could be said for you.
Yeah.
The clients I have that derive the best results are the people that derive like just full intent and full intensity, and the people that kind of just half-ass everything, and then they get upset as to why they're not seeing certain results, and it's like, just doing something kind of like as like a sure I'll do it, like kind of and like a half effort. That's not going to take you very far.
Yeah. I've talked about this in a prior episode. When you start thinking of yourself, I think the best analogy I can use is like, pitchers. They have a pitch count. The sooner you get into that mindset of like, I have a pitch count, the faster you're going to get into that intentional kind of headspace about your training, about how you go about every aspect of your training. Right, from the mental aspect to the the recovery aspect to the actual physical aspect to the nutrition, right? As soon as you start thinking of yourself like a pitcher, where like, all right, every rep counts, and there's a finite amount before you get benched, right? Now you're like, oh shit, okay, I gotta rethink this strategy. I just can't worry about the volume per se. I think people are quick to associate obviously working hard, right, and feeling exhausted with good training, when in reality that's far from it, right? I mean, yes, there's a moment in time to actually feel exhausted and like, all right, the volume, the output is so high that like, all right, we need that because hey, we're trying to establish aerobic capacity, repeated bouts and whatever the case may be. But that's not always the case. There's a moment in time when, hey, perfect example, I saw somebody, and they came in, I could see their body language. I had all intentions of kind of doing like a heavy, deadlift day, right? Like we were doing threes, right? And I saw the body language. I confirmed, I was like, hey, how you doing? He was like, oh, it was a long night, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, rather than, us completely foregoing what we had, right? Because he still wanted to train. He still showed up. I was like, all right, let's just simply drop the intensity and really hammer in, right, the technique and really be smooth and be really technically sound. And he felt like he still got something, right? And we moved the needle. Now, we might have not moved the needle per se, like if we had potentially done what we had what I wanted to execute, right? And maybe even then that was maybe a better session, honestly, right? But it's crazy because how many people do you think you run into where you have to kind of re-educate them and have that discussion with them, or like they tell you, oh, I don't feel sore, And so I don't think that was a good workout. Like,
Too many times.
yeah,
And listen, I mean, to be fair, like I think, I mean, I know this was the way I was, years ago when I started training, where it's like if I didn't feel necessarily sore the next day, it was like, oh, like that workout was a waste of time, like that, it wasn't effective, and and it's fine. It's like growing pains, right? Like I feel like everyone has to go through that and then like on the other side of that, realize like, okay, just because I'm not completely exhausted the next day or like I'm not super sore, it doesn't mean that the training that I did beforehand wasn't effective. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I think that's where like you were alluding to, right? Exercise is consumed as a checklist, right? Where it's like, all right, I'm just knocking it out. And in my mind, when I'm dealing with somebody that has that mindset, they're very early on in their training experience.
Yes.
Very, very early on. Like, and you could be like, well, what is training experience? Like, I've been doing it for 3-4 years. Okay, good for you. But when you talk to a trainer, right, essentially they've been doing it for 5, 10, 20 years, they're going to have a different mindset. Or somebody that has been doing it that long, not even a trainer, right? Your hope is that you're working with a trainer that has that realization, that understands that, like, hey, they're thinking about the pitch count from the get-go. But that doesn't come without experience and messing up a lot of people in the process. Like,
Yeah.
like how I just put you on PLAW 2 years ago, or even PLAW 5 years ago, me 5-10 years ago, I was destroying people. I'm sorry to you guys. I'm sorry. I was throwing a lot of things your way and hoping that stuff will stick, and it's just a realization. You're just like, all right, you're new, you're fresh, you just learned something off your cert, and you're like, all right, I want to throw all the bells and whistles because you're obviously trying to put food on the table, get some money, like entice somebody to like work with you. You're like, all right, you're really trying to make adaptations. And the easiest way oftentimes, right, is especially when you're working with somebody that's like overweight, metabolically not there, right? It's like volume training, right? It's just, more exercise, more adaptation, especially very early on. But then there comes a moment where it's like, all right, you'll plateau, right? And then that's where like, all right, we need to kind of really be intentional about how we're driving this intensity.
Yeah.
And that's where, if you're not reflecting, if you're not putting yourself alongside other coaches that are more experienced, that if you're not reading, if you're not, then you're gonna stay stagnant, and then that person, you stand to lose them. You stand to continue to evolve and give them the tools that they need to continue to make their way towards their goal. I wanted to kind of segue that because that transcends into like other things, right? Where we're talking about intentionality versus consumption of training, right? And before the show, we had talked about it, and we've been joking about it back and forth. PLAW, just to guys give you some context, the other day he was doing some Bulgarian split squats. I see my man wearing some straps, like hand straps, right, to be able to hold the weight, right? And then I was like, you don't need straps. And then I did the same. I think a couple days after that, I did some Bulgarian split squats. I didn't use straps. And we've been going back and forth about like using a tool, right? And I'm saying all that because oftentimes as coaches, people will come up to us and they'll ask us, hey, what do you think about using straps or weight belts or certain any equipment? Honestly, they're regarding fitness, they'll ask us, what do you think about hypervolt? What do you think about the compression sleeves and whatever the case may be? And more often than not, they hate my answer.
What's your answer?
Depends.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
It
depends. Like,
what do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
They're valuable. Good. Great. What is your goal at that point? So Pete, what were you trying to accomplish that day?
With the straps.
Yeah.
So my thing with Bulgarian split squats, and the reason I wear straps is because I'm not the greatest split squatter. I'm not a great Bulgarian split squatter by any means. And my thought process by using these straps is, hey, I need to put a little more focus and intent on like the quality of my movement, and I don't want my grip being like a limiting factor. And as far as like,
Correct.
as far as like, like
Being able to complete the move.
yeah, exactly. Like I want to I want to put more of my attention on like where I'm sitting, like with my legs, and making sure like all my reps are good quality, and not focus so much on like like my grip's all messed up.
Yeah.
So for that reason, that's why I use straps in that sense. And I don't want to go on a whole spiel with equipment like that, but I would say more or less to your point, like I think it really just depends on like what you're trying to get, and that's where you can branch off into like a million different like questions as far as like so it's like, oh, like what's your goal, it's like what's the focus, then, and a lot of it's just preference too.
If using that same example, if your goal, let's say, was to work on your grip strength, should you have used straps?
No, I wouldn't.
And that's
use straps.
it, right? You see, like the goal. If we change the lens, then that changes the tool per se, right? Mm-hmm. Bulgarian split splits are great with dumbbells if his goals are, to work on his grip, because especially, I don't know what you did before. I believe what you did before that.
A squat. I did bilateral squat before.
Okay. All right. Or if your goal was like grip strength, maybe instead of a back squat,
like a deadlift or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Something compound. Right. Obviously, your goal is probably not just grip strength, but it probably revolves some other things. But that's probably what I would do. I'd probably do some deadlifts, and then I want to continue to hammer the legs and to also work on my grip strength, and so I wouldn't use straps, right? Mm-hmm. But if your goal is to like, hey, I want to hit the legs really, really well, right, and you hit it with the deadlifts, right, bilaterally, and now you're doing some single leg work, right? You don't want your grip to be the limiting factor. You want to go up heavier weight, then use the straps. Mm-hmm. Don't be giving me shit, when I'm using straps though. All right, if I'm using straps, it's because I'm
hey, this guy doesn't use straps, everyone.
I used them today.
Round of applause. Give him a laughter.
Hold on. Wait.
This guy doesn't use straps.
Yeah. Hey, don't laugh at me. Yeah. I did use straps today, all right? But like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I guess I was feeling the effects of the other day, because I couldn't hold on to the barbell for shit today. So I was like, all right, I need something, and I was trying to hammer the legs, so I was like, all right, grab the straps today. Yeah. But like, follow up to that, at what point do these tools become a crutch then?
I would say they're a crutch when you can't perform without them. So I'll give you a little funny backstory for me. So this was
like that.
Man, this was I guess probably like, I don't know, like 7 years ago. So it was towards the end of my enlistment when I was in the Marines, and at this point, like, I was starting to get out, so like I wasn't really training as much, like going out in the field doing all that types of stuff. So I was like, all right, now it's time to like just do what every other guy from the military does, and just gets fat and strong, right? Like no cardio, nothing, right? Yeah. So I'm starting to like, start lifting heavier. Club. Yeah, start lifting heavier, all that kind of stuff, doing like, super heavy squat and deadlift and bench and whatever. And, I have all the shit, right? I have like the belt, the sleeves and whatever. One day I show up and I forget, I had my knees, I swore I thought I had my knee sleeves, didn't have them. I had like a heavy set of like a top set of 3 or whatever on squat. And I was like, oh, well, no, I can't squat. And then like I had to take a step back. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, you already can't squat just because you don't have... Beep. Yeah, literally. I'm just like, dude. Like, and that was a very good like awakening moment for me. I was like, hey, like these tools are very like, they're useful, and like they could help you a little bit, I think, with like, for example, maybe you put a belt on. It's like it kind of helps you like psychologically, like, all right, like it's time for like a heavy lift or something. But I also think
that extra oomph. But then it could be like, whoa, what happens when you don't have it?
Yeah, exactly. So like then I think that kind of creates like a fragility where it's like, hey, like even if you don't have it, like perform anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say this. I also say this. This is kind of like an off topic, but very quickly. This is one thing. I said this a while ago, and like I've changed my opinion on it a little bit. But I used to say people like be careful with training with music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course people don't have any sense of nuance, and it's like, oh, like, so just don't listen to music when you work out. And it's like, well, no, I'm not saying that, but like, how many times have you heard that person like say that their headphones died so they can't work out?
Yeah.
Right.
Or like, you need that song to kind of like pump you up.
Yeah.
What if, like, that's gonna stall. Like, all right, what if you're short on time and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need that song and you can't find it, blah blah blah, or your phone is dead. Like you said, life is getting in the way.
Yeah.
Like, okay, hit your set, man, already.
Yeah.
Like, get out.
just a couple squats, man.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and it sounds like a reductionist way to say it, but like, that's what I was telling myself a lot. Where like, I've had to say that to people where like they need this sense of like getting amped up or whatever, and fair. Like I get that, but at the same time, it's like, hey, let's zoom out here for a second. We're just squatting in the gym. We're not like,
Context matters in that regard.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm thinking about like, that's a true definition of an athlete. Anybody you can just bust out. That's the true definition of a hybrid athlete, so to speak. The versatility of like, all right, anytime, anywhere, let's go. You tell me this, that, I'm gonna get it done. But I don't have my white belt. Okay. All right.
And
cool. yeah. So, just be adaptable, right? Like, in terms of like, yes, hey coach, are these tools good? Yeah, they're good. When should I use it? Depends. Is it a crutch? Up to you. Like, it shouldn't be. It should aid you, but you shouldn't be reliant of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
Now, we both coach in front. Or we both coach in one of the most saturated fitness markets in the country. Regarding kind of like extended consumerism, what trends are you currently concerned the most with, right? Outside of like, all right, you see like, all right, people are like so hyper focused on like, always the output, right? Getting the sweat, right? What else are you kind of like? What are you seeing in our industry that like that's a little questionable? Like, hopefully that trend is not great. It's a good question.
There's I'll say this. I think performing for an audience that doesn't really exist, in the sense that I feel like a lot of people. And I don't want this to get taken the wrong way, but I think a lot of people feel the need to train and exercise to like perform something for an audience, like social media, for example, where I think that's fine and dandy when you want to like share, like if you want to share your stuff, that's fine. But I guess what I'm saying is like, I think people,
it's performative.
I often feel like if social media had never existed, that people probably wouldn't weight train, and not in the sense that like it's exposure, but in the sense of like, oh, like, well, I can't show my content to anyone, so I'm not even gonna do it.
Yeah, it's definitely aided people in like at least getting more people involved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like all those people that you see involved are like, very, very fit people. Great.
Yeah.
It could also be like, oh, it could be a deterrent, and it because it's so performative, it looks so great, it looks so like crisp and like, oh, sometimes, like it's a hard thing just to walk into a gym on a consistent basis for me, let alone somebody that is nowhere as experienced as I am, right? And so that same content, unfortunately, can be destructive in terms of like it could be a turnoff, is what I'm seeing. Like
it can make it like unapproachable almost.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Especially because then you get content where it's like, oh, it's like dogmatic approach where like, all right, hey, this is, if you want to lose weight, this is how you do it, blah 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 blah, and then you get somebody else, no, blah 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 blah, this is how you do it, and then you get so many of like super opinions, and it eventually there is a lot of like in our world, like we're there's a good ecosystem where it's like, all right, we're truly aware of like the problem that it is, obesity in the United States and honestly globally. but then also, we're in the business of making money, helping people, right? And so it becomes like, all right, hey, train with me, right? I need to, and it's like, no, don't do it with them, and then that makes another level of that makes it hard for that person that is not at our level, to like, all right, I'll do tomorrow. That's where I feel that social media is really disrupting and making like a subliminal trend that is not great, in terms of us getting buy-in, for people to just make it approachable.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of takes me the wrong way as well is I don't think it's just a South Florida thing, anything where I think it's a full fitness spectrum thing is this new like Stitch video culture all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Where it's like
clips,
yeah,
baby.
Where it's like someone will do something and then like someone put like their floating head on the side and they're like, oh, like this is dumb, like yada yada. And it's like, dude, like,
yeah.
Again, I don't appreciate like, because again, it's all for what? It's for buzz. It's for clicks.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like, would you be saying this to this person in their face? Like, I would be very surprised. That's just for all me. But
yeah, no, undoubtedly so.
Yeah.
Anything for the clicks, and I get it. Listen, I'm gonna be making clips, guys. But I'm definitely not making clips around just wild statements, just so I can, get people in here. I that's a disservice to individuals, right?
So I think at that point it speaks to
your character. It
like
really does.
Your morals, yeah, like
Yeah.
Your character, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I get it. So many trainers, so many young trainers, they want flexibility. They want they want the freedom. They want the influence, right? And they start misunderstanding our role as practitioners, our role as trainers. What would you tell them? What would you tell them as aspiring trainers, for anybody that's kind of like listening, right? In this day and age,
like to make an actual
career, and not just one that's like smoke and mirrors, for lack of a better kind of word, like where it's like, all right, it's okay to like make content, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be performative, but you really should, I mean, in my opinion, right, it should be educational, right? You shouldn't be misleading. It should be approachable. You shouldn't be shitting on anybody else, right? Because there's definitely plenty of business to go around, right? And if you're truly to make a career out of it, right? Like what would your advice be?
I think I would say like probably the biggest piece of advice I would say to make like a long lasting career out of it is just understand that like the success doesn't happen, or like the life you picture that you really want doesn't happen overnight. And I mean, we can revert a lot of this shit to social media, but because again, you see it on social media where it's like someone training like all types of crazy people, or like they have a crazy gym or whatever, and it's it's again, but it's all smoke and mirrors because it's like their story is different than yours, or that person.
You don't really see anything but what they want you to see too.
Yeah, and it's like maybe that person has worked 30 plus years to get to the point where they are, and I think the biggest thing to make like a lasting and like very fulfilling career is just like understanding that like it takes time and like patience, and like you got to put in the reps. You got to cut your teeth a little bit.
Yeah, there needs to be some sweat equity.
Yeah.
And I think so many people want to cut through that, right? Because there's a lot of information. You can quickly obtain a lot of information, right? And by all means, like, listen, if you can avoid some of the same mistakes as me, great. Like, I that's what I'm here for, right? Not only as a coach with clients, but as a coach for other coaches, right? In my role right now. But at the same time, you still need to acquire your reps. It's just at the end of the day, it's just reps, right? At the end of the day, it's practice. The same way that you're intentional about your training, you need to be intentional about your career. I think that's really what it is.
One of the biggest things I was taught when I first started coaching was really looking at training as like a trade. Was like you are like a construction worker or like a plumber or like a electrician or something, right? Where it's like you learn all this stuff in the training, you learn all this, you have all these different tools, right? Obviously, and like we talked about this before, like having tools in the tool belt and everything, but then also understanding like you have to hone your craft. Right? It's a craft to me. Like it's
you got to stoke the fire. It takes
Yeah.
a while to stoke.
Yeah.
You can't. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's a product of our younger generations, right? I'm thinking about two kind of examples, right? I never truly played like some of those sim games or like you know what I'm talking about, like it was like a farm animal, like where people would just kind of build their farms and whatever the case may be.
There's Sims and
there's a bunch of those games, but basically what I'm trying to say is, like they would take time. Like you would plant something, make the building, and there'd be a time, right, to construct the building, right? Obviously, things take time; they just don't happen like that, right? But unfortunately, in our day and age with technology and consumerism, right, they invented like tokens and buying, like expediting things. Fast pass.
What the hell
right? Rather, because it will always take time. Like gratification would come to those who would be patient. But unfortunately, now there is that instant gratification, right? You can pay your way to gratification, and it gets to the point where, from there's way above my understanding, right? Where you no longer get the same endorphins, right? Every single time that you just kind of pay to instantly get that whatever it is that you're trying to get, right? Like I said in Sims, like, all of a sudden I got the skyscraper by just paying, $50. Great, amazing. Now, what do you do after that? You need to continue feeding the beast. You gotta continue to like put more money into it, continue to like get it faster, and then you start undercutting what it is to truly work at that craft, to truly stoke the fire. To, hey, you don't have instant fire, right? You gotta go chop the wood. You gotta then put it together. And easy to say that I don't know how to fucking make a fire on my own, but I'm sure it takes some time, right? So. That's basically it.
Yeah. I think I mean, at least for me, like, have you ever bought in something and like the thought of buying something like before you buy it, it's like, oh, like how much better my life would be. Then you buy it and whatever it is, and like a week later you're kind of like,
I don't really need it. Yeah.
Like, it's so true though.
Yeah.
So many times. But I think there's like some kind of parallel there where it's like,
I put stuff in my shopping cart for a little while, and I'm like, all right, do I still feel excited about this?
That's a good trick.
Yeah. Before I pull the trigger, I have something in mind. I'm not gonna, because I've been thinking about it, like, I don't really need this right now. Like, there will be a time and place for it, but like, all right, I don't really need it. It'd be an impulsive buy for me right now, and so I'm like, all right, so put it in the cart, but don't hit send. Same thing with text, like Twitter, don't hit send, write it down. But, do you feel the same way about it? Do you feel the same way about putting your opinion out there? Do you feel the same way about buying something? Do you feel the same way? Like, let it marinate for a little while. People don't let it marinate,
There's reactivity and response. Yeah,
man.
Thing.
Yeah. And I think it's because people want to feel seen. People want to feel like, oh, shit, like he has a new thing and he has a shiny object. Oh, look, they're making a change and whatever the case may be. Right, and it's like you're consuming for the pleasure of like validation, so to speak, and it's not fruitful because then you get seen for just that brief period of time, and then what, damn, you gotta keep, like, that's at that point that's like keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak.
Because at that point it's like you're almost like a slave to like an algorithm,
Yeah,
because then it's like, oh, like we were talking about earlier, like, oh, like let me make some stitch video of like shitting on someone, and then it gets a lot of views, and then in your mind you're like, oh, well, got a lot of buzz, I must keep doing it.
Yeah,
right. And
I gotta make a even more provocative statement the next time around.
Yeah.
I gotta juggle, on one foot, like whatever,
And it's like, how far down that treadmill can you go?
Yeah.
So people, I don't know, man. People don't think about that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you end up on a Netflix documentary, like, doing some wild shit, like con artist, like living life on fringe, trying to like, withdraw like PPE money and stuff like
Yeah.
It gets wild out
Yeah.
there, man. Like,
Just like absolutely no restraint. Or,
yeah. Like, cause, yeah. Oh man, crazy. It's a crazy rabbit hole, right? When you start like you give more weight to like just check boxing and like giving into that consumerism and actually not being intentful, and your intentions don't like they don't align with like what truly is worth for you. Cool stuff, man. I believe I had one more question for you. Here it is. If you could teach every member one lesson that has nothing to do with fitness, what would it be?
Wow.
That's a heavy sigh.
I think I'd say detachment.
Detachment.
Yeah. And like understanding that like sometimes like the card you're dealt is a card you got, and you just gotta roll with it sometimes. There's been a lot of
I feel like that sounds like stay in your lane.
Yeah. There's been a lot of members and clients I've spoken to, that come in and they're not feeling great. They're not, maybe they didn't sleep very well. They're super stressed. They're whatever. Putting any.
Just not in the right headspace.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like you have a decision to make. It's like, okay, right? Like I can either not do the thing or do the thing with what I got. And that's really on you to be able to make that decision. Right? Like and I'm not saying like if you come in to train, I'm not saying you should just train if you I don't know, like some crazy life events happening, or maybe you're like really stressed, or like maybe you had like a super long night. That's fine to take a rest. I'm not saying that, but I guess what I am saying is like being detached to like your circumstances, in a sense that like just roll with what you have and make the most of it.
Yeah.
Because I think one thing I've heard too a lot, and I hear it from a lot of members in here, where they say like they wish they had more time to train, or like they wish they had more time to do certain things, like with the recovery or whatever. And it's like, hey, like this is what you have. Like you got to make the most of it. I think, and again, I think it just comes back to being adaptable.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I think not thinking of it in a vacuum or like ultimatum. It was like, oh, life is getting in the way. No, I can't do it now. I was like, okay, but you could spare maybe 5 minutes, right? 5 intentional minutes, because then you once again, like that can go into a negative kind of area where, all right, well, I'll just come in and at least get something done. No, come in, like leave that outside, right? Unless it's an emergency, okay, I understand it, right? If the building's on fire, okay, I get it, right? If somebody's dying, I get it, right? But more than likely, if it's not a true emergency, you can detach away from it for just 5 minutes. But let it be the most intentional 5 minutes that you're going to give me, right? If you give me 10, great. If you give me 15, great. Whatever it is you can give somebody, but like actually let it go. Let it go, right? Don't bring it in here, right? Let us help you detach as well, I think is the other thing. Because we can help you like kind of reset, like, all right, hey, I think that's the other thing is like as coaches, we need to be able to like gauge where that client is in there and at least have some type of resource to like, all right, if you feel that somebody's coming in with all that baggage, right, what is some things that you can quickly do with that client, just kind of like set the tone, right, for that session, right? So if you see him with the phone, hey, let's put the phone down, let's go by the wall, right, or let's lay down, right, let's do some breath work, right, so that way they can kind of like internally kind of focus, right, run them through like something super kind of like more motor skill based, where they have to kind of focus on that one task, right, and then being very intentional about like, all right, they're elsewhere, right? Or they can quickly drift back off. So like you don't want to go into like this massive motor learning kind of like like stuff that like really requires a lot of attention span, right? Like just enough to kind of get them engaged, and then maybe it is appropriate to give them something output so that they can kind of feel like they got something.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to be flexible, but it all starts with how you approach that client when they initially come in. Would be what I would add to you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's good.
All right, let's do some rapid fire.
Okay.
There's no
rapid fire button.
Rapid fire
or
kind of
audio. No.
You know, there's more of like.
Okay, that works. All right, yeah.
There's more. Uh-oh.
We losing our audience.
Oh my god. No, I don't really have anything for rapid fire, honestly. Okay. Aside from like, all right, that, applause too. But rapid fire, I'll ask you some questions. Typically, what I've been doing for you folks is that, and for the people that come into the podcast, I give them like a little bit of like, all right, what are we going to talk about? And then we just riff, right? We're talking. We want to just have good conversation based on like what people are asking and what people want to know. But this part, like nobody knows really what I'm going to ask them. So don't be looking at my screen. All right, really quick. Belts or straps? I already know what you're going to say.
Straps.
Most overrated fitness trend right now?
This is going to rub you the wrong way. Electrolytes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Sorry.
We will speak on this.
Element T.
All right. Most underrated training habit?
Sleep. Or training or like just general?
Underrated training habit.
Training. Consistency.
Okay. Yeah, fair. One book every trainer should read?
Laws of Human Nature, Robert Greene.
I've never read that one.
It's good.
I know Robert Greene. Okay. Okay. Most important trait of a great coach?
Discernment.
I wasn't expecting that one. That's great. One thing every trainee should stop doing. Trainee.
Okay.
Anybody could be a trainee, right? It could be an actual trainer, but it could be a member.
Anyone that works out.
Yeah. One thing that person should stop doing tomorrow or today.
Dry scooping your pre-workout. Please don't do that.
Oh my God.
It's a slippery slope from there.
It was. Yeah. What else is next at that point? Honestly, Yeah, it was not a good fad. It's not a good fad. Yeah.
Don't do that. It's not 2012
Yeah,
anymore. Get over it.
You're not. It doesn't show anything. Like good for you, right? You could. Yeah. No, I don't even want to allude to it. Describe intentional training in one word.
Presence.
Okay, and describe adapt in one word.
Adapt in one word.
Yeah.
Growth.
Oh, look at you.
Look at that.
You're quite insightful, man. I like that. So quick facility announcements. I like that. That rapid fire was good. Marcus struggled with it. I was like, come on, man, it's rapid. Like just off the dome, like
just off red.
Yeah, like whatever comes. Like I think it's just like, I don't want to say something that like I might regret. I was like, no, well, shit. Sometimes
stand your ground.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. And it's all right.
Wrong.
Exactly. Just own that shit.
And I'll probably get shit on for the electrolyte one. So
yeah, you're about to get shit on. I'm about to educate them after this podcast. Guys. So facility announcements. Community Saturday. Obviously, we just had the July one. August is right around the corner. Make sure we're going back into season. People are getting healthy or trying to make are getting back into the swing of things with school getting back started. Obviously, we always are welcoming and we want to continue to add to our family. So be on the lookout. Bring your family. Bring your bring your friends. Bring your everybody. Right. And then facility programming is actually changing. We are now doing all large group classes. This was something that we weighed as a staff and heard the feedback. A lot of members love our large group classes. They're like, we want more of it. So we're doing that now Monday through Friday. It's for our members, it's going to be a lot easier in terms of like registering for classes. You're not going to see, different 6 a.m.s. You're not going to see different 7 a.m.s. It's just one large group class. Still the same amount of coaching, still amazing coaches out on the floor. So just be on the lookout for that. Just to kind of close out, something, it's been a pleasure to have you to talk about, intentionality versus, consumerism and what it's doing in our industry and how you view the philosophy, that in mind in terms of the philosophy of training, right? With that being said, something that like is at, for me that stood out is, training isn't about accumulating fatigue, right? It really should be about accumulating skill, awareness, and monitoring progress, right? And when you understand that, that's when you're going to start being truly successful, right? When you get into that mindset of like, hey, there's a finite amount of reps that I can do, right? That's when you're going to really be like, oh, now I'm focused, right? The sooner you can get into that, and this goes for anybody, right? Whether you're a coach, whether you're a member, and anybody else, this is almost like a life lesson. When you start being present, right, about whatever task you have at hand, man, you're gonna be unstoppable. So, if you found value in today's episode, please, leave us a review, leave us a like. That all helps. It helps us reach more people. It helps us, help continue to provide this content. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Follow Peter
J Law
_ right?
Follow Train Adapt.
Come to class, right?
Come to class. Don't be late.
Yeah, don't be late. Exactly. All right, guys. See you guys next time. Peace.